According to the American Psychological Association, 40 to 50% of marriages end in divorce. Divorce rates are at an all-time high, devastating breakups are expected, and relationships tend to be complicated, or they're expected to be so. There is a way to lower these statistics and expectations. If we understand how communication works and why relationships have so many barriers and issues, we're able to understand how to deal with them and how to properly go about these situations. I have a solution. If we are to provide communicative classes to kids from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade, we can provide them with the proper communication tools to deal with these kind of situations in their romantic relationships. Understanding communication differences and how they affect our relationships is a key component to keeping our romantic relationships alive. Communication differences between men and women are common and often part of the reason why we have so many barriers. Dr. Brian W. studied the difference between how men and women communicate. In his article, The Struggle Between Men and Women to Communicate says, men want to solve a problem or learn something when they're communicating. But for women, they tend to not have a goal when they communicate. Rather, they just want to vent or process their emotions. Right away, this causes frustration and issues in a relationship. If you take a man and a woman and they try to have a conversation and they're trying to gather different things from it, they're going to butt heads right away. Gary Chapman, the author of Things I Wish I'd Known Before I'd Gotten Married, says, people do not get married planning to divorce. Divorce is the result of a lack of preparation for marriage and the failure to learn the skills of working together as teammates in an intimate relationship. In Floyd's book, Communication Matters, 3rd edition, he talks about psychologist John Gottman's theory, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It's a negative communication pattern that is a warning sign for separation in relationships. So there are 4 of them. The first one is criticism. That would be an explanation that erupts as a you statement of blame. There's contempt, I'm better than you, or I don't respect you. Defensiveness, the problem isn't me, it's you. And stonewalling, silence, changing the subject, or muttering to ourselves, or physically removing ourselves from the situation. If we were to teach kids at a young age all of these signs in a relationship, we can better prepare them on how to handle these situations. If we teach kids how to understand how to be aware of healthy and unhealthy relationships, they are more likely to know how to act on them with the proper tools. In Communication Matters, the 3rd edition, it gives us some examples of what is expected in a healthy relationship. It should emphasize excitement and positivity, handle conflict constructively, and have realistic expectations and manage dialectical tensions. But we should also teach the kids what is an unhealthy behavior or a relationship and how to deal with that as well. A lot of people stay in unhealthy relationships because they might feel like it will put too much strain on the children. Maybe their religion doesn't allow them to get divorced or to separate from their partner. Financially, they might not be able to be alone, and they might not view any kind of positive alternative. If we teach kids how to react in these situations or how to openly communicate with their partner, we can avoid a lot of these situations. If we created a communication class starting from kindergarten to 12th grade, our youth would have years of proper communication skills established. But first, we'd have to provide a proper learning environment. Carol C. Field's article, Helping Children Communicate, tells us what that would look like. Children should learn and communicate in a valued and respected environment, especially when it fosters communication. If we take that kind of learning environment and we pair that with everything I've shown you here, teaching how men and women communicate, how to work as a team, the 4 horsemen and signs of a failing relationship, we can provide kids with all the proper tools they need to effectively communicate in a romantic relationship. They would have healthy communication habits, they'd be aware of differences and how to handle them. Building strong communication skills from a young age will help them understand how to be on the right path for successful relationships. It will reduce the breakdown of romantic relationships and will give them a more satisfying life. Romantic relationships are suffering in the United States because of our inability to properly communicate. Understanding communicational differences and signs of a healthy or an unhealthy relationship can determine the success of your relationship. If we were to educate our youth on the impact of all of these skills that I've shown you today, we can remove the toxic barriers and set them up for success in their life and in their own relationships. Thank you.